Welcome to F1 Blogs, your new go-to channel for all things Formula One.
We're getting ready for an in-depth look at the recent Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix.
That's right. We've been digging into the analysis, trying to unpack the key moments, the strategies, the surprises.
Yeah, forget the noise. We're diving deep into what really mattered at Imola.
Our mission today, really, is to dissect the race. We want to understand the strategies, driver performances,
And those unexpected shifts in team dynamics. We've looked at the expert analysis, so if you want to get in the know quickly and thoroughly.
You've definitely come to the right place.
Okay.
So let's unpack this race. Initially, some gave it maybe a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, that sounds about right. The safety cars and the different strategies definitely injected some unpredictability.
It certainly felt like a lot was happening, didn't it? Felt a bit chaotic at times.
It did, yeah. And while it felt chaotic, a lot of what we saw was, the direct result of those different tire strategies playing out. Like a car on much fresher tires is almost always going to have an advantage over taking someone on older rubber. So
Yeah.
It looked like constant change, but it was often just strategy unfolding.
Makes sense. Absolutely. Now, looking at some individual drivers, a few really seem to have a challenging weekend. Esteban Ocon, for instance.
Oh, yeah. Tough one for him. That very early pit stop, lap 1.
Mhm.
And then the virtual safety car timing just compounded it, left him right at the back, 19th.
Really tough race.
It was. And Gabriel Bortoleto was another one who seemed to struggle a bit.
Started 13th, but kind of anonymous, wasn't he?
Yeah, seemed to be lacking pace. There was even that odd moment where Ollie Berman on tires like 15 laps old.
15 laps.
Yeah, managed to overtake him. That's definitely not what you want to see.
No, definitely not. And speaking of Berman, Oliver Berman, his team, Haas, the strategy seemed a bit off there.
Well, yeah. He initially gained ground, didn't he? Running long on the hards.
He did.
But then that double pit stop around the VSC, that basically ruined his chances. Maybe could have salvaged something with a later safety car if they hadn't done that double stop.
A real what if.
Precisely. And Pierre Gasly? His race was heavily impacted by that big driver error at Piratella.
Ah, yes, that cost him quite a few places.
It did. Good start, but then that mistake. And on a track like Imola, those errors are just, incredibly costly.
Very unforgiving circuit. On a more positive note, though, the rookie, Franco Colapinto.
Yeah, decent debut.
Better race than qualifying, which is encouraging, right? Especially at Imola.
Absolutely. It's an exceptionally demanding track for a Formula One debut. So, a solid performance, finding consistency, that's a good sign.
Started 16th, finished 16th after a decent stint, showed some resilience.
He did. The VSC timing wasn't great for his stop, but yeah, solid enough.
Okay, let's delve into the strategic side a bit more. Aston Martin. Putting both Stroll and Alonso on the same two-stop strategy. Did that limit them, do you think?
It seems like it might have, yeah. Stroll started well, 8th, but finished lower.
Right.
And in a race where you clearly had, the one stop and the two stop being viable options, committing both cars to the same plan, especially when others split strategies, yeah, it seems like it might have hindered their overall result.
Interesting call. Liam Lawson. Relatively quiet race. Finished 13th.
Yeah, his best result of the season so far, actually. No major errors, just maybe a bit unremarkable in the grand scheme of things.
Started 15th, pitted under the VSC, gained a couple of spots late on, but just lacked that raw pace.
Pretty much, yeah. Solid, but not spectacular.
Nico Hülkenberg.
Yeah.
Strong start, got into the points early.
He did, but then that driving error after the restart cost him.
And wasn't there a mistake in Q1 on Saturday, too?
Yeah, reminds you even the experienced guys can get caught out at Imola. He ended up outside the points, overtaken by Alonso near the end.
So the potential was there, but errors proved costly.
Yeah. Exactly. Though finishing just a second behind Alonso maybe isn't terrible for Sauber, but you hope that doesn't become the norm when they transition to Audi.
Fair point. Now, Kimi Antonelli looked really promising for a while, didn't he?
Very promising. Running as high as 7th at one point.
Even overtook Hamilton early on, ran 6th for a bit.
Yeah, showed some real flashes of good pace. But then that technical issue forced retirement.
Shame.
Such a shame. Strong showing before the problem definitely showed potential.
Agreed.
Fernando Alonso ended up 10th. Sounded like a frustrating race for him.
It did seem that way. The Aston Martin car seemed improved, but the strategy decisions, maybe held him back.
He seemed to feel that way himself, blaming decisions rather than car performance.
Yeah, ran top 5 early on, but the first pit stop timing dropped him back. Recovered a bit with the VSC, but the overall strategy didn't really deliver.
Finishing so close to Tsunoda suggests the pace was there, though.
It does, just hampered by the strategic calls, perhaps.
Speaking of Tsunoda, fantastic recovery drive from him. Oh, brilliant. After that difficult Saturday, starting from the pit lane.
To finish 9th in the points? That's impressive.
Absolutely. Capitalized on incidents, strong start, long first stint, defended well against Alonso. Excellent turnaround for him and the team.
Really shows you can't afford those Saturday issues, though.
Definitely puts you on the back foot.
Carlos Sainz finished 8th. Seemed like maybe a missed opportunity there, especially looking at what Williams did with Albon.
Yeah, the analysis suggests Williams got the strategy spot on with Albon, starting further back but running longer on the first stint.
Whereas Sainz pitted relatively early.
Exactly. That split worked brilliantly for Albon and maybe cost Sainz a better finish. Starting 6th, finishing 8th. Could have been worse, but yeah, maybe more was possible.
George Russell. That was a strange one, going backwards from 3rd to 7th.
Really unusual. That early pit stop seemed to be the key factor.
He seemed to lose ground almost immediately when Norris got behind him, like a direct reaction.
It did look a bit like that. Maybe concerns about a DRS train forming behind him triggered that early stop.
Ugh. The dreaded DRS train. For anyone newer listening, that's when cars bunch up, all getting DRS, making overtakes super hard.
Right, and maybe triggering that stop just set off a chain reaction that dropped him down.
Oscar Piastri, podium in 3rd, which is great, but maybe a bit understated.
Felt a bit like that, yeah. Mostly because of that start, losing the lead to Verstappen straight away.
And that early pit stop impacted things too, even though he had strong pace.
Agreed. The race was sort of decided at the start with that Verstappen move, and McLaren splitting strategies, bringing Piastri in early.
A bit of a gamble.
Seems so. Based on thinking it would be a 2-stop race, if they'd kept him on a 1-stop, maybe P2 was possible.
Interesting thought. Charles Leclerc recovered well, 10th to 6th.
Yeah, benefited from that undercut strategy early on. Gained quite a few places.
But then got a bit stuck behind others on different strategies.
Exactly. The undercut worked initially, but the mix of strategies limited his progress later. And not having the freshest tires for that final safety car restart didn't help.
Right, the undercut. Pitting earlier than rivals to gain track position when they stop later. Good tactic, but didn't quite get him further up this time.
No, not quite enough.
Alexander Albon, though. What a race for him. 4th place.
Excellent drive. Williams absolutely nailed the strategy with him.
Such a contrast to Sainz, really. Started 7th, ran long on the first stint.
Jumped up to 3rd when others pitted, only lost the podium to Piastri later on.
Held off Leclerc after the late safety car, too. Fantastic result.
Brilliant drive, maximized everything. You can imagine Sainz watching that and thinking, what if, right?
Oh, definitely. Lewis Hamilton, another impressive recovery. 12th to 5th, was it?
Ended up 5th, yes. Or was it 4th? Let me double check. Yes, 4th. My mistake.
4th. Even better. Really benefited from that long first stint on Haas and the safety car timing.
He really did. A clear example of getting the strategy calls right, paying off big time. Expended first stint, gained track position, safety cars helped. Very well executed.
Lando Norris, strong drive to 2nd. Capitalized on Russell's issues.
Yeah, good race from him. McLaren's strategy worked well for him after Piastri's early stop. Started 4th. Good move on Russell.
But did he really have the pace to challenge Verstappen for the win?
Seemed like he lacked that ultimate pace. Closed the gap a bit after the final safety car, but never got close enough to really mount a challenge.
So a strong P2, but maybe not quite win contention pace this time.
Correct. The gap for much of the race suggested Red Bull just had the edge on race pace.
Which brings us to Max Verstappen. Took the victory.
Yep. That spectacular start getting Piastri into turn 2.
Yeah.
That was key.
And then just consistent pace, managing the safety cars effectively. Some thought maybe a 9.5 out of 10 performance.
And what's really significant here, analysis confirms this win was based on pure pace.
Yeah.
First time this season, Red Bull's actually been quickest in the race itself.
So not like Suzuka, where strategy played a bigger part for a slower car. This was genuine speed.
Exactly. Which leads to the really interesting part, this abnormal Red Bull advantage, as some called it.
Right. McLaren sounded surprised by it. Andre Stella saying they just didn't have the pace to chase Verstappen.
And conversely, Christian Horner at Red Bull was surprised McLaren weren't faster.
It just shows how fine the margins are, doesn't it? Incredible.
It really does. And factors likely included Imola's high-speed corners suiting the Red Bull, small but effective upgrades unlocking better balance.
Okay.
And maybe better tire management for the surface temperatures this time. Different from the core temperature focus in Miami.
Interesting distinction. And that turn 2 overtake at the start sounds like it was truly pivotal.
Absolutely. If Piastri holds the lead there, maybe McLaren controls the pace, manages tires differently. Whole different race, perhaps.
Could McLaren have rolled the dice with Piastri's early stop because they didn't think they could win on the same strategy as Max?
That's a very plausible theory. Maybe they felt they had to try something different.
And it feels like Red Bull's gaining some momentum now, unlocking more from the RB21.
It seems that way. Though, interestingly, some analysis still sees the McLaren as maybe the better all-round car across different tracks.
Okay.
But there's potential for shifts after Spain, with those front wing regulation changes coming.
Yes, the flexi wings discussion.
Exactly. And what's fascinating is Red Bull apparently just wanted to sort of hang on until Spain, hoping the regs might help them.
But instead, they win on pure pace against McLaren here, at a track where McLaren has been strong.
It's a really significant result in the context of the season, yeah. A big statement.
So there you have it, our deep dive into the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. We've seen, well, strategic gambles, driver errors,
and a pretty significant shift, maybe, with Red Bull showing that clear pace advantage. What stands out most to you listening? The strategies. Verstappen's dominance. McLaren's situation.
Yeah, lots to think about. And it certainly raises questions heading into Monaco, doesn't it? And looking ahead to Spain and those regulations.
Absolutely. It's just another reminder, really. Formula One, tiny details, massive impact. On the race, on the championship.
And that brings us to the end of our deep dive for today. We really hope you found this analysis insightful, maybe gave you a clearer picture of the race.
Yeah, I hope you enjoyed digging into it with us.
If you did enjoy this detailed look, please do make sure you subscribe to F1 Blogs. We'll be here breaking down every race throughout the season.
Bringing you the stories behind the speed. Thanks for tuning in.